Here's part 3 of our Clarke lathe rebuild. Here I discuss the adjustment of the end float on the layshaft and what I did to get rid of the grub screw adjustment and to make the system seal around the shaft and the end plates.
And adjusted this in and out. But this meant that this to this didn't seal, because obviously you pull this away, pulls this away from this. So the float in this gearbox from here was adjusted by the end plate on here with these 2 screws, one either side, and basically you slackened the 2 screws off here and adjusted this in and out. But this meant that this to this didn't seal, because obviously you pull this away, pulls this away from this. So on this side of the gearbox, moved this in and out, which pushed on this bushing ring on here. Obviously this distance between this and this was too thick, so I measured it as best I can, and because if I had a lathe, which this is, I could have machined this down a little bit better. But what I did is put it onto the kind of running until I've got the distance that I want for this. And now with this onto here and tightened up with the 2 screws, if this is too tight, the shaft will not turn, and this has to be obviously a good seal to stop any oil leaking out of it. And it also has to, it's a cheap, not very good way to adjust end float on a shaft. So now with this tight here, this tight here, the shaft is free to turn now, very easy. There is no discernible end float in this shaft at all. This nut is tight. That's free. I see no end float in this at all. I cannot move anything. So we have our first shaft mounted in the gearbox. So now we put this. After putting the bushings in and making an adjustment on the far end over here, as per the last video or the last section, I can now put this on. This has a washer on here and it's tightened up, so this is sealed. This has been ground back very slightly, as said in the previous video. This end has been assembled, and here now we have 0.04, actually 0.02 of end float in the gearbox. So now this spins really freely on here. We have just this little bit of end float in it, which is 0.2 millimeters. I'm very happy with that amount of movement in it. It looks pretty good. It runs really freely. I think once oil is in there, this should be way better than the original version of it.
Thank you for watching the rebuild of the Clarke lathe. The lathe shaft is now complete. As you can see with the dial gauge, we have very little movement. Next we move on to the gear change mechanism. So keep on watching, like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon. Bye.